Hello, everyone. This is Samuel Jonathan, your public speaking coach. And yes, we're going to talk about establishing your speaking legacy. You know, I was just preparing lunch and a few nuggets came to mind. And I said, wow, these points are certainly going to help someone. And I just thought, you know what, Samuel? Seize the moment and make it a monument. And that's the beauty of establishing presentation mastery or perfecting the art of public speaking. When you have an idea, when you have insights that can take the organization to greater heights, or when you have illustrations that you know can facilitate comprehension, you're able to step up to the microphone, you're able to step up to the podium, you're able to walk into that room, connect with the audience, and articulate yourself. Now, don't forget, every winner was once a beginner. I did not come out of my mother's womb speaking this way. And the same applies to all those who you admire, whether it's in athletics or academics. Every winner was once a beginner. And so I want you to keep that in mind. Coaching makes the difference. Coaching makes the difference. And of course, I will remind you of that Samuel Jonathan quote. You cannot change how you were born, but you can change how you perform. Now, let me share the couple of nuggets that came to me while I was preparing my lunch. You know, many people take for granted what they say and how they say it, and they forget the acronym EWM. Every word matters. When we're talking about your speaking legacy, of course, what you sound like, your delivery, it all matters, especially the words we say. How many times have you heard somebody say, "Thanks for having me"? And when do they usually say that? Yeah, it started during the coronavirus pandemic when there were more virtual TV interviews rather than actual people being in the studio. Once the presenter and the interviewer introduces them, the first words out of their mouth is, "Thanks for having me." And you would hear it all the time. "Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me." I know you're saying, "Well, Samuel, what's wrong with that?" I'm coming to that. How many times have you heard people, hey, what's another one? Oh gosh, I had a couple of them in mind while I was preparing lunch. But let me get to this illustration and then I'm sure I'll come back to the one I forgot. You see, there's nothing valuable in that which is common. Imagine a woman spend 800 pounds on a handbag. Now, I don't know how much handbags cost, but I know 800 pounds sounds like a pretty penny, isn't it? A lady spends 800 pounds on buying a nice bag. And she thinks, whoa, this bag is really nice. It's going to be one in town. And then she attends a function or social gathering. And within the first 4 or 5 minutes, she comes across 6 other ladies with the handbag. How elated or deflated would she be? Of course, she's not going to be too happy. What? She spent 800 pounds on that bag. That's a lot of money. But then she realizes that it's common. There's nothing valuable in that which is common. And so what we're saying is this. Speaking is common. However, you can find uncommon ways to do that which is common. And that's my favorite definition of success. I know if we're to ask you what your definition of success is, it'll be different from mine. But my favorite definition of success is doing that which is common uncommonly well, or doing that which is common in an uncommon manner. There's got to be something unique about you. There also has to be something unique about how you say what you say. So in terms of how you say it, we're talking about vocal delivery, your volume, your tone, your tempo, your inflection. But for this particular segment, we're focusing on what you say, which is the verbal component of your presentation, your speech, or just daily conversations. Now, back in Africa, there are quite a lot of, especially West Africa, there are lots of common phrases that government leaders, government officials, and corporate leaders use. Things like all hands must be on deck. I can assure you. Another one is we're putting measures in place, and so on and so forth. Oh, here's one very popular in West Africa, started in Nigeria, all protocol observed. Now, once again, you're going to be asking, well, Samuel, what's wrong? Guess what? There's nothing grammatically wrong in what they've said, but remember, we're talking about establishing your speaking legacy. Your speaking legacy ought to be unique. It's got to be outstanding. If it's common, there's nothing distinguished about it. There's nothing valuable about it. Always remember that illustration of the lady who spent half her salary on buying just one handbag, and she thought, you know what? Oh yeah, when I walk into that gathering, I'm going to be the bomb biggity. I'm just going to be the diva that's going to get all the attention. And within minutes of her arrival, she realized that several ladies are carrying the same handbag. What about, you see, as a communicator, which is what we focus on here, we don't just want you to be an eloquent speaker. We would rather you be an effective communicator. A communicator takes responsibility for two things. Number one, a communicator takes responsibility for the comprehension of the audience. So a communicator just doesn't want to speak well and people go, wow, she's just a fantastic speaker. Oh my gosh, I can listen to him all day long. No, a communicator takes responsibility for comprehension. They want to make sure that the audience understands. Because according to Samuel Jonathan, communication is not accomplished until comprehension is established. So that's the first thing. A communicator will take responsibility for the comprehension of the audience. Of course, in order to make sure the audience understand, you've got to do what we call people IQ. No, people IQ has nothing to do with how intelligent the audience is. People IQ has everything to do with how intelligent you are about the people you're addressing. So you got to do your homework. The second responsibility of a communicator takes responsibility for every word they utter. A communicator knows very well you cannot utter words that do not exist. Now tell me, in what dictionary will I find the word, whether it's Penguins, Merriam-Webster, Oxford Dictionary, Collins? You would never find the word, so why say it? Why use it in your presentations? Why use it? Why should you use it in your interlude, in your interviews? Why should you use a word that does not exist? Look, no, don't tell me that. Well, Samuel, everyone does it. According to Samuel Jonathan, that which is common is not necessarily correct. Now, I know I had to leave cooking. Now, I'm not going to tell you while I was cooking because now your mouth will start watering. I had to leave what I was cooking to turn the camera on and just drop these few nuggets. And I am sure that it's going to make a difference in someone's life. If you are going to establish a speaking legacy that would live long after you've gone, you've got to start paying attention to the words you say, the words you use, because it will leave a lasting impression on the minds of your audience, whether it's an audience of 1 or 1,000. You can't say but when you were supposed to say and. For example, Andy is tall, but he's got a bald head. Well, you were trying to make a positive impression on your audience, and you were trying to convey a positive message, and you used the word but. You could have just said, Andy's tall and he has a bald head. Now, and of course sounds more positive than but. You shouldn't be saying anxious when the word you were actually supposed to use was eager. You can't say clean if you're actually supposed to say pure. You can't say effective when the word you're actually supposed to use is efficient. You see, and you can't say you were anxious to meet someone when you're supposed to say, I was eager to meet you. Anxious means expectation with nervousness, fear, whereas eager means anticipation with determination, anticipation with positive mind, with not fear, whereas anxious would mean anticipation with nervousness or fear. See, every word matters. Don't forget that. And that's the message I would love for you to take with you today, because when you are establishing your speaking legacy, what you say really matters. Now, the good news is that we offer coaching that would make a difference in how you articulate your ideas, your insight, and your illustration. And our primary focus is to enable you to speak with precision, clarity, and charisma. My name is Samuel Jonathan, your public speaking coach. And remember, it's time to establish your speaking legacy.